Alright, back here. San Andreas. This is a pretty decent disaster film with Dwayne Johnson. It's not... Basically, this is the successor to 2012. And you could just tell. You could just tell automatically. It's fine, you know? It's a fine movie. Not anything special, but it's fine. Sam Katzman, Icons of Horror. Oh, yes. Sam Katzman, the king of the bees. Well, okay, maybe not king of bees, but he was the second king of bees. The main king being Roger Corman, obviously. Sam Katzman produced all kinds of movies. He produced horror. He produced musicals. But two of them were Elvis vehicles, Kissing Cousins and Harem Scarum. But this set includes his horror films. Creature of the Atom Brain, Zombies of Moratah, The Werewolf, and of course, The Giant Claw. Which, yes, I have seen The Giant Claw, and it is awesome. The Giant Claw is awesome. It's okay. Let's see if I can show you a picture of it. Hang on. The Giant Claw. Oh, yes. The Giant Claw is awesome. Haven't seen the other ones yet. Sabrina, an excellent romance film with Audrey Hepburn at the center, who is in love with two brothers, played by Humphrey Bogart and William Holden. This is just great. Great movie. Directed by Billy Wilder. A lot of people don't talk about this one, which is interesting, because it's actually it's a really great romance film. The Sand Pebbles. Oh, my God. This is a movie I really have a hard time watching. Every time I sit through this, I'm just like, oh my God. Set in World War II, Oscar-nominated performance by Steve McQueen, Oscar-nominated performance by Mako, Richard Attenborough, what was that? Richard Crenna and Candice Bergen. This is a great Robert Wise film. The problem is, I've only seen it twice, and it's just really depressing. I don't want to give much away, but it's one of those, like, just really heavy, dramatic film that's might not be for everybody, but it's good otherwise. Salt. You know, I'm kind of surprised this didn't get a sequel, which is interesting. It's kind of weird how this didn't get a sequel. You know, a female Bourne movie? Sure. Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen it, but I don't really remember the plot of this one, but it's just kind of surprised there wasn't a sequel to that. RV. Okay. Yeah, here's the thing about this movie. It's a road trip movie. It's a road trip comedy, which you know how I feel about those. Yeah, Robin Williams is fine in it. It's not terrible, but it's very predictable. If you know these kind of movies like I do, then you know that this kind of movie is just very predictable. The Scream films. Well, actually, just the first three. I don't have the other three just yet. Scream 4, 5, which is just called Scream, and Scream 6. But I've seen all of them, except the 6th one. This box set's great. Love this box set, but the problem is that the first one is non-anamorphic. So it doesn't even throw a ball with Scream when you watch it, which is kind of annoying. Anyway, yeah, Scream. Scream was great because it essentially was a celebration of horror movies, but it also was supposed to have been the death of a slasher genre. It did the opposite. But yeah, this is great. Essentially, each of these Scream movies attacks or at least critiques an aspect of horror. So here we have just horror movies in general, and then Scream 2, which is essentially tackling sequels. Yeah, each of these Scream movies has a theme. So the second one's about sequels. The third one is about the twist within a twist. So yeah, if you know about the twist within a twist, then the fourth one is essentially critiquing reboots in general. The fifth one, just called Scream, is essentially tackling remakes or something like that. And I don't know what the sixth one is tackling, but I think it has something to do with unnecessary sequels, something like that. Seabiscuit, the true story of the horse Seabiscuit that won the Triple Crown in, I think, the 1930s. I believe it was a Triple Crown, something like that. State of Play. I don't know this one. I don't know why I have that one. Another donation, State and Maine. Good cast. Alec Baldwin, Charles Durning, Felicity Hoffman, Julia Stiles, Sarah Jessica Parker, William H. Macy. Hopefully it's decent. Next we have A Scorpion King, which is basically the spin-off to The Mummy, Brendan Fraser Mummy. I've never seen this. Sully, the film about Captain Sully Sullenberger, who was involved in the miracle on the Hudson, where he landed a plane in the Hudson River after it was hit by birds, and everybody survived, nobody was injured, but the NTSB, the National Transportation Safety Board, questioned his motive as to why he did it. But yeah, this is a really great Clint Eastwood film. Check it out. Ooh, I love this film, Solaris, by Andrei Tarkovsky, 1972, Criterion number 164. This is an excellent film. Andrei Tarkovsky is known for slow films, and if you don't like slow burn movies, then you're probably not going to like this. But this was a very influential sci-fi film when it first came out in Russia, and just a really interesting head scratcher, so check that out. And no, really, that's what it's called. It's called yeah. Basically a film about snakes. Again, this is another film I got at this place called Deep Discount, and I've only seen it once. So yeah. Next we have Sands of Iwo Jima. Oh yeah, a friend of mine used to show me this all the time. Badook, fighting in the Battle of Iwo Jima during World War II. It was good, from what I remember, although I haven't seen it in a very long time, though. Also with Forrest Tucker. Doesn't have a Blu-ray to my knowledge. Saboteur. This is an Alfred Hitchcock movie that I have not seen. Yes, there's a good amount of Hitchcock films I've not seen, but this is one of them. I heard good things. Isn't this the one where, I don't know, there's something about a climax involving a Statue of Liberty? It was one of those. Sausage Party. Yeah, one of the more recent R-rated animated films that's not for kids. Yeah, this is a movie that you're either gonna like it or you're not gonna like it. I actually think it was funny. It's like almost like a parody, if you think about it. It's almost like a parody of animated films. And that final scene at the end. Oh, you will not think of food the same way again after that. Saturday Night Fever. This is a classic. This is one of the best films to have ever come out of the 70s. John Travolta as the Disco King. This is very iconic, mostly because of its soundtrack by the Bee Gees. And yes, I do have that soundtrack on vinyl. But this is easily one of John Travolta's best performances, and also one of the best films to have ever come out of the 70s. Yeah, this was this was a huge hit when it first came out. And mostly because the disco culture was brand new at the time, and of course, everybody flocked to see this, and everyone bought the soundtrack, and it's a great film. Here's a great film right here, The Savages. This is a very underrated film that a lot of people don't talk about. It's actually one of my mom's favorite films, and also one of my favorite films. Laura Linney and Phyllis Seymour Hoffman have a great chemistry between the two of them. And also on top of that, you have a really great story at the helm. And also, it's just really funny. It's a dark comedy, but it really, really works. So, absolutely a must watch. I don't want to say too much because I'll spoil it, but check that out, please. Save the Last Dance with Julia Stiles. I saw this once. It was okay. It was alright. I think it was parodied in a dance flick or something. I don't know. Boom. One of the best films ever made. Saving Private Ryan. The most realistic depiction of the Battle of D-Day. And also just a really great story. This is... Oh my god. I think everybody knows this movie by now, but in case you haven't, for love of God, go watch this. This movie is just brilliant. I've seen it maybe twice in my life, but oh my god, this is just so amazing. One of the best war films ever made. I don't think I need to say anymore. It's just a deep World War II film. It's very deep, deeper than you may think, but it's brilliant. Next, we have the Saw movies, or at least the first 7. I didn't even know they found them at Walmart for like $8, and then I found out, they released the same set on Blu-ray, and I'm like, oh, great, okay. Yeah, you have the first Saw is actually pretty good. It's more of a thriller than anything. People don't realize it. They think that Saw is all just torture porn. It's here's the thing. Hostel would be more torture porn than this one. The first Saw movie is actually more or less a thriller. It's just 2 men stuck in a room and they have to get out. And also you understand who Jigsaw is and what his motivations are and so forth. It's kind of creepy. The sequels is when they started becoming about traps. People trying to get out of traps and such. It's, I did see Jigsaw, that was the first one. I saw the 8th one. It was terrible. It was just really bad. I didn't see the other 2, Spiral and Saw 10. But I don't think it really matters. The series has gone on way too long anyway. By the way, if you want to know what the other ones are, Saw 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and Saw 7, which is called under 2 names, Saw 3D or Saw the Final Chapter. There you go. Say Anything, decent rom-com with John Cusack. Of course, it has that famous shot of him holding the stereo for his girlfriend. Yeah, it's an iconic shot, but saw it a long time ago. Alright, next we have Scarface. And no, I'm not talking about the one that you all know. I am talking about the 1932 original with Paul Muni. This was made at the height of a gangster film. In films like Little Caesar and The Public Enemy. This was around the time of this, this genre was becoming more mainstream. And this is one of the finest examples of it. Sort of modeled after Al Capone, I believe. I could be wrong, it was something like that. So, yeah, but this is iconic. A lot of people don't talk about this one for some reason. Probably because of the remake, but this has always been great. I've seen this twice. It, tackles the Prohibition era, and there's a reference to the St. Valentine's Day Massacre, which if you you know about that, then okay. Of course, the idea of someone who wants to conquer the world, but then he, falls victim to his own, power. And that motto of the world will become yours or something like that, it became sort of a theme for that one. And the remake with Al Pacino. This is the one you know, right? Basically, these are like 2 separate movies. You realize that, right? They're 2 separate movies, but just happen to have a similar theme of someone turning to a life of crime, gaining all of his power, and then falling victim to it. That idea. And it's been a long time since I've seen this, but yeah, this is, of course, one of the greatest crime films ever made. So I think we all know Scarface by now. I think we all know it. I don't think I need to say anything. I think they use quotes way too much, but again, it's all about the character of Tony Montana. Like Tony Montana, right? Something like that, yeah. It's been a while. Scent of a Woman. Al Pacino won an Oscar for portraying a blind attorney. I've not seen this yet. But good things. Alright, next we got a couple sci-fi sets here. So, the first is a Sci-Fi Adventures TCM set. So we have Them and Beast from 20,000 Fathoms. Both are amazing. Them, giant ants. Yes, it's awesome. And Beast from 20,000 Fathoms with the Ray Harryhausen stop motion effects. It's great. Love it. And the other 2, World Without End and Satellite in the Sky, I have not seen those. But I recommend watching Them and Beast from 20,000 Fathoms. Because they're great sci-fi monster movies. They're great. Next, we have another sci-fi set. Contact, Red Planet, Lost in Space, and Sphere. Contact I saw a long time ago. The first time I heard about it was in a Nova documentary about time travel. I saw it a long time ago. It's about a woman who goes through wormholes. Lost in Space, which was an adaptation of the Irwin Allen TV show. And the other 2 I've not heard of. So, I want to see one of the films in this set. Funny. And we have this, Sci-Fi Invasion. It was put out by DigiView. I got this as early as 2007. And a lot of people don't remember this, but back around 2005 to around 2008, Walmart sold these like $1 DVDs that you could tell they were $1 because they're like really thin and the quality of these were crap. So, but people bought them, and a lot of these were all public domain stuff. So a lot of the films that were released on these things were public domain. I used to have 3 of them, but now I only have 2. But this one I decided to keep for memory's sake. And I've yet to actually pop this in and actually watch these. So we have Cosmos War of the Planets, Assignment Outer Space, Voyage to the Prehistoric Planet, and Warning from Space. And yeah, I guess I have nostalgic memories with having that in my library, I guess, so I just decided to keep it. Because I have one of the other movies. I have one of these already, which is Voyage to the Prehistoric Planet, but I don't have the other ones. And that's the thing with public domain movies, is sometimes you have like multiple copies of them. If you buy them in like a box set or something, they have like, you can accumulate like 3 or 4 copies of the same movie. It's almost kind of hilarious. And sometimes they're like garbage anyway, so you wouldn't want to watch them at all. Schindler's List. Oh yes, this one. This, alongside Saving Private Ryan, Jaws, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, E.T. the Extraterrestrial, Munich, they will go down as some of Steven Spielberg's finest films. Best Picture winner in 1993. This is a searing drama of Oskar Schindler, a Nazi sympathizer who saved 1,000 Jews from the Holocaust by having them work in his factory. And yes, this is a film that's really deep. One of the best films to depict the Holocaust. Very historically significant. I really want to rewatch this sometime because this is just so iconic that, I remember loving that film when I first saw it. So, yeah. Scooby-Doo 1 and 2. Thank you, Shree, for giving me this. Yeah, I do have nostalgic memories with this. I know they're not very good, but honestly, I really don't. They're better live-action Hanna-Barbera movies than other ones that have come out recently. There's Yogi Bear and Tom and Jerry, but, I do have nostalgic memories with these. These were like my Scooby-Doos. I know that sounds weird, but it's true. I don't think they're that bad at all. I think if anything, they're problematic, but they're not terrible. But Screaming Skull. Oh, yes. Free. The producers of this film guarantee to bury you without charge if you die of fright during Screaming Skull. Oh my, wow. They really... Warning, this ghost will haunt you forever. Yeah, have you actually seen it? It's hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious. The movie literally begins with this disclaimer. And the movie, oh my god. This movie's hilarious. It's not scary, it's funny. I'm sorry. It's just, oh my god. Why did they hype it like that? Oh man. It's terrible. Next up, we have one of the greatest films of all time, The Searchers. This is my favorite film with the Duke. I am not making this up. The VistaVision cinematography is gorgeous. The direction by John Ford is magnetic. The story about how someone's trying to rescue, how the Duke has to rescue Natalie Wood, but at the same time, there's a lot more to it. The feeling of like emptiness in this world, and the feeling of emptiness and abandonment, and it's really a film about humanity. Oh my god. But yeah, very influential film in more ways than one. Very influential film. Of course, you may know the original Star Wars, right? Well, the scene where the Duke checks out the charred remains of his family home, that was the inspiration for the original Star Wars, when Luke Skywalker went back to his homestead and found it but it was taken over by the Empire. So that was kind of like the thing that propelled him to become a Jedi. Searching. This is okay. Taking the whole unfriended approach about a guy who's trying to find his missing daughter. That's alright. Selena, the film about Selena Quintanilla Perez. I believe that's her last name. Yeah, if you know the story of what happened to her, then you probably already know the story by now. But anyway, Jennifer Lopez does a really great job portraying her. And the fact that Selena's own dad helped produce this film just shows the level of authenticity that they went into telling this story. So, it's good. If you like Jane Austen, then you may like this. Sense and Sensibility. This is one of the best Jane Austen adaptations. Emma Thompson not only stars in the film, but she also won an Oscar for adapting the screenplay. Also, you have Alan Rickman, Hugh Grant, and Kate Winslet. It's a pretty decent movie, so that's not bad. I know there's some people who don't like, romance stories. Like, they can't be bothered to, watch some, wishy-washy romance. It's like, expand your horizon, 7. This is awesome. An excellent thriller with Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman. The film about two cops who are trying to investigate this, these murders at the hands of a killer who's going around killing people based on the 7 deadly sins. Yeah, this is really fantastic. One of David Fincher's best movies by far. Especially, the scene toward the end. I think you know what scene I'm referring to, and if you don't, watch the movie. Actually, they just recently re-released this in theaters, and I missed it because it was in theaters for like one day. So yeah, The Seahawk, a excellent successor to Adventures of Robin Hood. We actually have several Adventures of Robin Hood connections. We have Errol Flynn, Claude Rains, Michael Curtiz, one of my favorite directors, and the score by, if I can pronounce his name, Eric Wolfgang Korngold. So, excellent successor to Adventures of Robin Hood. The Seawolves, I don't honestly remember this one, to be honest. I don't. Some espionage World War II story. Okay. The Secret of Nim. One of the best animated films you could watch. I haven't seen this in a while, but I have seen it twice before. The story of Mrs. Brisby, who's trying to save her family at the hands of Nim. The whole... Mrs. Brisby's such an inspirational character. Someone who will go out of her way to do anything for her family. Especially her son, Timothy, who came down with like a really bad illness. And brilliant animation, brilliant story, and a film about the struggle between science, nature, and the unknown. It's brilliant. Serenity. This is the sequel to the TV show Firefly. I believe Joss Whedon created this film as well. I have never seen Firefly or this movie, but I heard good things. This is a movie I found at Target one day, surprisingly. Serena, with Bradley Cooper and Jennifer Lawrence. It was... I've never actually seen it, but I've heard decent things. It's kind of like a film set in the 20s, I believe. And I don't really know. Now, here's one you should check out. Secret Window. This is a thriller like I haven't seen in a while. So, not to give too much away, but Johnny Depp plays a writer who this one guy claims that he plagiarized his work, even though he didn't. And what follows is a nightmare of revenge, of, mystery, of blackmail, murder. Oh, this is so great. It's such a great movie. I don't want to give too much away, but it's brilliant. One of my favorite films, Selma. The true story of a Selma marches led by Martin Luther King Jr. in Selma, Alabama during the Civil Rights Movement in 1965. This is such a brilliant, brilliant film. And such a very accurate one, too. I think the only thing about this movie that wasn't really accurate was Martin Luther King's relationship with President Lyndon Johnson, who they actually did cooperate with one another on and off. But the movie seems to portray Lyndon Johnson as like someone who did not support him. And in fact, that was not necessarily true, but it wasn't necessarily true either. So it was kind of like, they did cooperate a few times, but they weren't always on the same page, if that makes sense. But yeah, oh my god, such fantastic movie. Watch this during Black History Month for sure. I have, at least twice. Serpico, the true story of Frank Serpico, who worked for the the NYPD, the NYPD, and how he was a nonconformist, and how, he did things very differently. Al Pacino does a fantastic job. So this is one of his best performances. I kind of wonder what Frank Serpico's doing today. I wonder. Alright, next we have the Surgery Only Anthology. So this has all 3 Dollars movies as well as Duck You Sucker. So we have A Fistful of Dollars for a few dollars more, and one of my favorite films, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Okay, what do I have to say about the Dollars trilogy? Okay. A Fistful of Dollars was awesome. Clint Eastwood immortalized himself as the man with no name, and how, oh my god, this is just brilliant. How it took inspiration from Akira Kurosawa's Yojimbo, I believe that's how you pronounce it, and this is just absolutely, and of course the villain by, I want to get his name right. Hang on, I want to get his name right. John Mede Fredonte. I think that's how you say his name. And yeah, it's just such a great film. For a Few Dollars More was also really good, adding Lee Van Cleef to the mix. So that was really good. And then one of my favorite films of all time, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, which is actually a prequel, believe it or not. But oh my god, what do I have to say about that one? Clint Eastwood, Lee Van Cleef, and Eli Wallach teaming up to find this gold that's like that's been buried somewhere. Eli Wallach wants it for himself. Lee Van Cleef, I honestly don't remember why he wanted it, but he was very cunning in how he got it. And Clint Eastwood doesn't really want it for himself, but rather he will use it for a good purpose. Anyway, yeah, but Clint Eastwood and Eli Wallach have to work together, and they despise each other, but they know that they have to find it before Lee Van Cleef does. And this is just the cinematography. All 3 films have fantastic score by Ennio Morricone. The cornerstone, the go-to for spaghetti westerns. It's like one of the best trilogies out there, by far. One of the best trilogies. And oh my god, I'm in love. I'm in love with those movies. And as for Duck You Sucker, I have never seen it once. But I heard of it though. Sex and the City. I know there are people out there who don't like the TV show. But to be honest, I didn't see the show first. I saw the movie first. Which is interesting. I saw the movie first, and then I saw the show. And I understood kind of like why people like them. But again, these are chick flicks. Everyone from the show is here, I think. Sarah Jessica Parker, Kim Cattrall, Christian Davis, and Cynthia Nixon. I believe I could be totally wrong, though. I think the movie's good. I think if you want just a simple introduction to the show, then this movie will do it for you. Otherwise, I also have a sequel. Yes, they made a sequel. A lot of people don't know that, but it's true. I'm not even honestly sure why they made a sequel. But then again, I don't understand why they made a sequel to the Downton Abbey movie either. So this is the second one, which I've actually never seen the second one. Although I heard that this was really, really bad, so I can't say anything about it. I think the show is better though, overall. It just depends on where you're coming from.